If you're worried about tariffs making your iPhone $2,000 more expensive, wait until I tell you how tariffs could fundamentally hurt both the US and Chinese economies, which rely on each other for survival. Because we are heading towards the biggest trade war in history, one that's coming for your wallet and our economy. To understand the depth of the impact this trade war could have, you have to understand the history of the United States and China's economic relationship. And why should you listen to me? Because I'm a business journalist who talks to investors, economists, and analysts for a living all about this stuff. Here's everything I've learned. For over 2 decades, America has been hooked on cheap Chinese products. Phone, your furniture, those Amazon impulse buys, 13% of everything America imports comes from China. While the president would call this unfair, this has actually worked out well for the US economy. Let me explain why. First of all, we import affordable goods, many of which we can't make here. We don't have all the supplies, and we certainly don't have the factories. We get to import these goods for relatively cheap, which frees up our consumers' money to spend on services. Think about all the services you consume all the time in the United States. Everything from your haircuts to your travel services to even your AI. It's technically a service. This services-based economy has allowed us to continue to expand our economy and has made our stock market the outperformer of the globe for the last 16 years. Because it turns out you can charge a lot more for services than you can for goods. China gets a lot out of this too. Access to the world's biggest consumer market, billions of jobs in the form of factory work, and raising wages for those workers because of the huge demand that American consumers have. So this US-China tariff relationship, it had gone on for over 20 years. That relationship is falling apart fast thanks to this current trade war. Trump administration just announced that 145% all-in tariff on China. Economists tell me that equates to a $300 billion tax hike. And that's a tax hike not on businesses, but on you, the consumer. That historic tax hike comes just as Americans are already dealing with a 24% rise in prices in the years coming out of COVID. Meantime, China has retaliated with a 125% tariff on US imports. Some context here is that the Chinese economy was already a hot mess heading into all of this. The pandemic was incredibly difficult for China, and they're still trying to recover. They are currently in talks to offer their citizens the same stimulus that we all got 5 years ago. Both economies have a lot at stake here, and both are now locked in a game of chicken. President Trump says he is awaiting a phone call from Xi Jinping. Xi says that he is no longer going to pay attention to anything coming from the administration on tariffs, basically calling them a joke. If neither side backs down, here's what we're looking at. Higher inflation when prices were finally starting to come back down, economic uncertainty and a lack of faith in the United States, which could lead to a recession, and just a fundamental reshaping of the entire global economy and who our allies and adversaries are. It is a very big deal when the two world's biggest economies start to decouple before our eyes. A decoupling that continues to change every single hour. If you have questions about the impact of the current trade war on your finances, drop them in the comments. I'll get back to every single one, and as always, follow me for more.